Hey guys, there's something that I think has kind of been overlooked, maybe not discussed enough, if at all, about the whole idea of coming to the Philippines on a permanent basis. I started thinking about some different guys I've talked to who are considering moving here permanently. And as I was talking to them and kind of working through with them, what are their reasons? Because there's different good reasons to become a permanent expat. One good reason is and we talk about this a lot, the abundant dating options that are here for you as an expat in the Philippines. That's a pretty good reason. A lot of guys want to get into a relationship and all that. Maybe they want to find a wife and whatever. And that's all fine and good. Another reason is for the lower cost of living. And lately, I've been seeing different articles and videos, I'm sure you have too, just with the rising cost of inflation and the rising price of groceries and rent and mortgages and just everything. You can come to the Philippines and whatever it is you're paying in the States, minimum, you'll be paying 30% less in the Philippines, maybe even 40% less. For instance, just rent alone. You can pretty much have your pick of where you want to live, whether it be a condo or rent out a small house, be by the beach, the city, whatever it is. Even at $700 a month, which is considered the higher end for rent in the Philippines, most places you can rent for actually about $450 to $550, and that's a nice decent place. But if you were even to set that on the highly conservative end of, say, $700 a month, you're still paying at $700 a month a whole lot less than you're paying in rent there in the United States or your own home country. So cost of living savings is another big motivation. But there's another third motivation, and that's what I want to talk about today. Because think of it as the big umbrella underneath which you would find the relationship as a motivation, the cost of living as a motivation, or even a new adventure in life, a new chapter for you, that motivation. But consider this to be the overall umbrella motivation that all these other ones would kind of like depend on. And it's this. Ask yourself, really ask yourself, as you start getting beyond your 40s and into your 50s and whatnot, ask yourself, well, what do you want in this next chapter of your life? Really? Because what you wanted back in your 20s and your 30s, it was something different, pretty much for most of us. And as you get older and you've already done this or that career, you've already made this and that money, you've already had a marriage, a divorce, you've had relationships, you've kind of sampled from life in many ways. But what is it that brought you the most satisfaction? And most guys just assume, well, I was happiest when I was in love and I had a woman that just doted on me. And so they come to the Philippines looking for that, thinking, well, if I just find a good woman, I'll be happy and life is good. And that can happen. I'm married and I'm with a wonderful Filipina woman and life is really great. However, if we're really honest with ourselves and really dig deep into what it is that makes us truly happy on a daily basis, it's one thing, and that is peace. Peace in your life. Because you can be with a beautiful woman and she might be living with you. She might be just dating you, visiting once in a while. She might be your wife. But if she destroys your peace, all bets are off. You're not happy. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be stressed out. Because let's just face it, many women, if everything is peaceful, they will find a way to screw it up. They will find a way to create drama. Because think of it this way. It's the difference between introverts and extroverts. Introverts are, for the most part, they can find their own way to keep their mind occupied. An extrovert needs external stimuli. So that's why they're extrovert. They love parties. Because at the parties, not only is there a lot going on to keep their mind busy, but there's a lot to interact with. All these people, they're just like social butterfly bouncing around, okay? But for an introvert, they don't need all that stimulation. They got enough going on and they're happy. Now, without sounding try to sound sexist, but again, trends exist for a reason, but I'm not saying all. I want to make that clear. But so many women, they simply have a hard time with accepting a peaceful life, even a peaceful day. Everything is going great, and some women have this need to create drama. It's like they feel like they're alive when their emotions are flared up. And what flares up their emotions? Creating drama for any stupid reason. Okay? And I'm sure you've dealt with these kind of women before. If you can find a woman, Filipina, and this should be one of your criteria in the 1 year time of getting to know a Filipina that you're thinking about getting married to, this should be part of your criteria along with, well, can she cook? Is she pleasant? Do I find her attractive? Does she have morals? Does she have character? Add this to the things that you should be observing about her as you're getting to know her in person. Does she bring you peace in your life? Or is she the type of woman that she sees a bowl of water that's sitting still and she's just got to mess it up? She's just got to ripple it around and, just has to make waves. Can't go 2 days without creating an argument over nothing just so she can feel some emotions. These are the type of women that you haven't done anything. You've done nothing wrong. You're just living your life being a good boyfriend or husband. And these are the women that start with that whole jealousy thing. And it's not because they have reason to be jealous. They will sit there and nip and nag and constantly accuse you. You must be talking to some girl and this and that. You looked at the cashier too long and whatever. And there you are defending yourself. That's what she wants. It's not about her issues of jealousy. What it's about is she's mentally bored. She needs some entertainment. And this is her idea of entertainment, is to stir stuff up, get you all worked up, defending yourself, and then somehow in her economy, she can walk away from all that and say, I have an exciting life. This is like a scene out of a soap opera. Look how upset he got. Look how angry he is. He must really love me. It seems like he cares, It's that whole, I'm going to push his buttons just so he can entertain me with all. Now, what's the cost in all of this? Your tranquility. There you were just having a wonderful afternoon, and she comes along and destroys it. Literally, nuclear weapon destroys the perfectly happy day you were having. Now, I've been through that. I know. Even before I kind of articulated it in my mind, I knew I would ask myself the question, do I want more of this? I've mentioned before I dated this woman who was manic, diagnosed by a psychologist on lithium. She was a manic bipolar personality. I didn't know that when I met her, but I sure as heck found out within 3 months. She would create drama out of nothing, like a magician. Everything could be going great. We could just be driving down the freeway there in California, and then out of nowhere, I remember one time we're just going down the freeway, just going a speed limit. And she's like, stop swerving. I said, I'm not swerving. I'm just driving down the road. Well, you're making me seasick. Maybe you gotta pull over. I'm getting nauseous and it's because you're swerving all over the road. Are you drunk? And I was like, what? I even told her, what's wrong with you? The car's not swerving. Nothing in the car is swerving. I had like a little air freshener thing. I said, if I was swerving, that little air freshener would be swinging. How come it's not swinging? No amount of logic or reason would change her mind. And then when we got where we were going, I pull into the parking spot. I'm within the parking spot, the white lanes there, the lines. And I start getting out of the car and she's like, don't you know how to park? Look at you. You just threw the car. It's all crooked. I said, what are you talking about? I'm parallel. I'm within, It took me a while to catch on. She has some kind of sick need to be entertained with creating chaos. And it comes in so many different forms. It can be the more passive approach, which I think a lot of women get away with. The more passive approach is rather than creating an argument, what these women will do is they start getting all sullen and they make it obvious to you. They sit in front of you and there they are and they're all depressed and they're waiting for you to say, well, what's wrong? And then they come up with some BS, I don't know if I'm really loved in life, or some stupid Cosmopolitan magazine comment. And then there you are like, no, look at all you have to live for. Look, guy, your life is great. What about this? What about, and see, now there you are, the dancing monkey entertaining her. Now you went from just having a relaxing afternoon on the couch. Now all your attention's on her. See, in each case, whether it's passive or aggressive, their whole goal is that you don't get to sit there and relax like you were. They're going to put all your energy and all of your attention on her. So getting back to the whole motive for moving to the Philippines, I would suggest this. If you really, really are hell-bent on having a relationship, which can be a great thing, a great relationship, a great marriage, I'm really lucky. V brings a whole lot of peace to my life. She is so easygoing. We can work stuff out quickly. It's awesome. It's great. If I want to take a nap, like today, I took a 2-hour nap. She doesn't bug me and like, hey, what are you going to do today? None of that. I take my nap, I wake up when I feel like it, and then we talk about what we're going to make for dinner or whatever. Meanwhile, she's like doing the laundry and she already washed the dogs, both of them, and it can be done. You can find a good woman who doesn't have this problem. They don't have this insane need to disturb your peace, to steal and rob you of your tranquility. Not all women are like that. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to start dating a Filipina and all that, like I said, in addition to all the usual red flags that you want to keep an eye out for, include this. Ask yourself every once in a while, does she help me maintain my peace? Am I having a tranquil life? Or, oh no, she's starting up again. Here goes the next 2 hours trying to calm her down. What kind of craziness is it today? My strong admonition to you is, especially if she's over 30 years old and she's doing this kind of stuff, she's never going to change. Forget about rehabilitating her. This is how she operates in life. She needs a steady feed of chaos and attention on herself, and she's going to get it from you. You're not going to have peaceful days. You're not going to have tranquil weeks. No, she's got this need. Walk away. Just walk away. Don't try to fix her. You can try talking to her and everything, but I'm telling you, the older we get set in our ways. So that's one option, is really filter these women out. Really ask yourself, does she make my life better or does she make my life harder? And if she's making your life harder, just walk away. There's lots of other Filipinas out there. You don't need to go and try to rehabilitate, this shrew of a woman. No, just you exercise your right to opt out, to exercise your choice. Well, she's one choice. I reject that choice. I'm going to go look for some other choices. And they're out there in the Philippines. They're abundant. There's no need to try and rehabilitate this woman with this crazy sick need. Now, the other option is, and I put this out there to consider for you to consider, if you're going to come to the Philippines, make your first goal not to find a girlfriend, not to find a wife. Make your first goal to develop a peaceful, tranquil, enjoyable life. And it's not cookie cutter. It's not like you all got to sit down and meditate on a yoga mat or something, but living a life that brings you joy, living a life that brings you, again, a sense of tranquility where that stress level is way down. Maybe your thing is going to the beach on a regular basis. Maybe your thing is playing golf on a regular basis. Or you want to hang out with friends. I got a buddy of mine, he's really into karaoke. I mean, he's really into it. He knows where they play live music. He knows where they do karaoke. They're in Cebu. He's checked them all out on Google Maps. He's got like 5 favorite ones. Other guys, whatever. It's, they like to play tennis. Find your bliss. Start getting into the pattern first. When you relocate to the Philippines, make it your first goal to find what it is that you find enjoyable. Build that good, tranquil life without a woman involved. And once you have that routine going, as you meet this or that woman and you're entertaining her as your girlfriend, maybe a wife, if she starts creating chaos, bringing chaos into your peaceful life, don't be afraid to walk away. Just tell her, we're not compatible, And if she goes, why? It's, well, because I'm normal and you're a crazy person. You like having stress in my life. For some reason, that gives you a sick joy to mess up my perfectly good afternoon. And then just block her on everything. Don't engage in her dramas. Just literally block her on everything, every social media, all of it. And then, try with the next one. So something for you to consider. Let me know if you've had this kind of a woman. I'm telling you, if you have, you'll know it. And we can talk about it more there in the comments.